Assalamu alaikum. Today we will talk about the Mendel law of inheritance, or we can say as the Mendelian genetics. Actually, Mendel was a monk or also a scientist of inheritance, and he was an Austrian monk. So he worked in a plant through which he found some law of inheritance. We will study about their laws of inheritance. Actually, Mendel performed his experiment from 1856 to 1864, about 8 years, in which he found a lot of things according to the inheritance among the plants. So the plant on which the Mendel works, this plant name was pea plant, and the scientific name is the Pisum sativum, because every plant has some scientific name. So this was the Pisum sativum. When the Mendel performed his experiment and presented laws, so the people were not acting upon his talks, his laws of inheritance. But unfortunately, after his death, some scientists came and they said that Mendel was a true scientist. He presented true laws about inheritance. So after this, they gave the Mendel as the father of genetics name. So today we will only focus toward that why Mendel used the pea plant, what were the reason behind the using of pea plant and his inheritance laws. So there are several factors which tend Mendel to use the pea plant for his experiment. The first reason was that pea plant is hermaphrodite. The word hermaphrodite means involve both sex. Both sex mean that it is a flower, it is a plant in which both sex are present. Like in plant, this is the name of female part is called a stamen, and the carpel, and the male is called what? No, it is called a stamen. Okay, so and there is also the stamen. Okay, so this is stamen and this is carpel. So he said that the pea plant is involve both the sex. It is called hermaphrodite. The male plant is male part is also present and the female also present. So he said that I can work a lot of by the pea plant in order to pollinate it by self and also the cross. So it is called a hermaphrodite because it is involved in both sexes, so it may occur the self-pollination. The second was self-pollination occur, but we can also cross-pollinate it. The second reason was that and before the Mendel said that it is hermaphrodite, it involved both sexes. So he said that we can self-pollinate it, but we can also cross-pollinate it by using the surgery. The surgery means that I will cut this male part. So now there is only the carpel, the female part, and I will carry pollen grain from another plant, from another male part of another flower. So I will carry the pollen grain from another flower and I will cross-pollinate it. So it is the reason that tend Mendel to work on the pea plant, because in pea plant we can cross-pollinate by cutting or using the surgery and carrying the pollen grain from another flower. The third reason was that it gave large number of seed in less time. You know that the pea plant gives that the life cycle of the pea plant complete in just 3 months. So he said that it gave large number of seed in less time, and the third, they complete their life cycle in 3 months. So he said that the life cycle mean that time from one generation to next generation. Like this is a flower, this is a flower, so now it pollinates itself. So and the result of pollination, it will occur the fertilization process, and the result of fertilization, it will produce the seed, and the seed then will lead to the production of the next generation. So he said that this time of the pollination and fertilization and this pea plant occur in less time, and it gives the larger number of seed. So he said that in just 3 months is a less time, it gives a large number of seeds. So therefore the Mendel said that I will work on the pea plant randomly. So these were the factor. The 5th factor was that pea plant has 7 distinct traits. There were some traits that tended Mendel to use these traits in his experiment. These traits were distinct. It means that it is clear cut, and each trait has 2 clear cut alternative forms. He called these traits as orthogonistic pair of traits. There were some common distinct traits. There were special traits, special character, and the pea plant that tended Mendel to use the pea plants, and each trait has 2 alternative forms. That if the Mendel use one trait, so each trait has a 2 form, and Mendel called this trait as orthogonistic pair of traits. So we will talk about this trait. You can see here the seed shape, like the shape of the seed of the pea plant. Seed. The seed shape is a trait of pea plant, and it has 2 alternative forms. One is round, second is wrinkle. You have seen that in some pea plant the seed is round. You have seen in some pea plant the seed is round, while in some it is wrinkled. It is rip-like structure. It is not round like this. Okay, so this was a trait, and it has 2 alternative forms, and these are the alternative forms, which one is round, second is a wrinkle. The second trait was seed color, like seed color. So in seed color there are also found 2 alternative forms. In some pea plant the seed color is green. If we see to the color of the seed in pea plant, so we mentioned 2 types of color. While in some seed the color is green, while in some the color is yellow. So it was also a trait of the pea plant, and it has also 2 traits. One is green, second is yellow. The third trait was the plant height. So in pea plant there are 2 types of alternative occur. One is the tall, second is the short. You have seen that some pea plants are tall in size, while some are short. You can see here this is a short and this is a tall one. So in pea plant some plants are tall while some are short. This is due to the orthogonistic pair of traits that tended Mendel to use the pea plant for his experiment. The fourth was the flower position. So in the pea plant the flower occur in different places. The flower has different places to reproduce. So in some pea plant you have seen that in some plant they say the flower position is axial, while in some is a terminal. The axial means sidewise. So in some pea plant the flower occur or the flower are produced inside on the side of branch. You can see here this is a branch, so it produced on the side of this branch side, while in some it is terminal, it produced on the end of the branch. The 5th one was the flower color. So in the flower color there are also two forms of alternative palms. One may be the purple, second is the white. So in the pea plant there are two types of flower occur. One is the purple, second is white. The second one is the pod shape. Pod mean fruit. So the fruit which are produced by the pea plant are two types. One is the pool, second is the construct. You can see here, this is a pool pea pod, pool pea fruit. So and some pea plant produce pool pod, pool fruit, while some are constructed like the structure, like the food we eat the food. So and some food are like this structure, some fruit are like this structure, while some are like this structure. You have seen. The last one is the pot color. So this was the pot shape, second is the pot color. So this pot color may be occur two things. One is the green. So if I mention this is a green, the second one is the yellow. So this is like yellow. So in the pot color, these two alternative palm occur. One is the green, second is the yellow. The next reason for the Mendel experiment on the pea plant was the true breeding variety. The true breeding variety means when we self-pollinate a pea plant and it produces offspring identical to parents. If we self-pollinate a pea plant, it means that we pollinate a tall plant with the tall plant and it produces the offspring which are identical to the parents, because so and it produces the tall offspring. When we self-pollinate a pea plant and it produces the offspring identical to the parents, so this called the true breeding variety. So the pea plant has this quality, therefore the Mendel used this pea plant. Like if we pollinate tall plant, this is the symbol of male. If we pollinate the tall with the tall, like in one flower, I mentioned only one flower, there are two parts, one is the male. So if we put the foreign grain from the male plant part on the female part, which is also tall, this is also tall, and it produces the offspring, so resultantly the offspring will be tall. If we cross this, the tall with the tall, so it produces the tall offspring. So the pea plant has this quality, therefore the Mendel also used this pea plant. After applying several experiments on the self-pollination on the pea plant, Mendel bored from the self-pollination. Therefore he thought that I have to use the cross-pollination. So on this way he took a tall plant and a short plant, okay, then he crossed. This is another flower, this is another flower, so he took like from this is also this, okay, short, and this is the tall, okay. So he took two genes, then the resultantly the tall and the short offspring, tall and short parents were cross-fertilized, cross-pollinated. The offsprings were tall. So he Now he applied the cross pollination. He took one tall plant and another short plant. Then he cross pollinated these, so the offspring were tall. This causes the Mendel. This leaded the Mendel to another thought, that why they become the tall plants, why the all plants were tall. So on this way Mendel proposed two traits which are there. One is the dominant trait, second is the recessive trait. And the Mendel called this generation as a F1 generation. He called these as F1 generation. F mean filial, and filial is used for offsprings. Okay, so the Mendel proposed two traits. That must be, there are two traits that produce the offsprings all tall, and there are also the short plant. So why they become all tall plants, whereas the short plant genes? So the Mendel proposed two traits. The traits, one was a dominant trait, second is the recessive trait. The traits which appear in F1 generation, this is called the dominant trait. So if we look at F1 generation, so F1 generation, the tallness is appeared of the tall plant. So he said that the tall plant is dominant over the short plant. So in F1 generation, the tallness was a dominant trait. The next is the recessive trait, the trait which were masked in F1 generation. So in F1 generation, the short plant traits were masked. They were not appeared due to the dominancy of the tall plant. So he called this as a recessive trait, and it is called the shortness which were not produced in F1 generation. So student, this was about why Mendel used the pea plant. This was the answer to this question, and I hope that you have learned more about